Finally, the time was approaching, the most dreaded time for us kindergartners in Miss Smith's classroom, the dreaded running record. These were a series of reading proficiency tests that determined our reading level. In my classroom, we went by a letter system, levels A through Z. While other kids in the class were skyrocketing through levels each time we tested, me, on the other hand, I was stuck on level F. Not only was I stuck there, I had been stuck there since the beginning of the school year. I had pretty much exhausted every book in the level F bucket, but I still remember Mrs. Smith telling me, "Just keep reading, Danica, the next test will be the one." Except, the next test was just never the one. But Mrs. Smith wasn't just your average teacher. She went above and beyond to make sure we were reading and made it fun. Look, reading wasn't always my favorite, but I will admit her reading activities helped. A lot. I started to really get into it and was determined to level up when our last test of the year came around. I had spent each and every day reading during choice time in class. Finally, the day had come. I threw on my favorite soccer shirt and sneakers, and I packed the mini stuffed animal that my brother had gifted me for good luck. "All right, next up we got Danica. Come on back and leave your materials at your desk," Mrs. Smith called to me. I anxiously made my way back to the running record corner in the back of the room. I pulled the curtain she had set up to block off the area from the rest of my classmates. Mrs. Smith handed me a book about therapy dogs. I started to make my way through the text and only really stumbled on the big words. Once I made my way through, Mrs. Smith gave me the nod of approval and told me I did great. But the reading part wasn't what I was too worried about. It was the follow-up questions that always got me stuck. Mrs. Smith asked me my first question. "What are therapy dogs used for?" I lit up, realizing I knew the answer. I told her they were for making others happy and giving support. I worked through the rest of the questions, hoping my answers made sense. Mrs. Smith started putting my file away and reorganizing the running records for the next students. This was the most anxious I had ever been in my 6 years of life so far. She reached under her drawer, my heart pounding, and handed me my certificate. I had finally passed and moved up to level G. I went home so excited and ran to my mom. I jumped around, unable to contain my happiness. This had to have been the best news I had ever received. I finally felt like all my hard work was worth something, and that it actually paid off. This moment is what taught me the importance of hard work and never giving up on something you want to achieve. For the first time in my life, I had felt what true success felt like, and boy was it a great feeling. Passing my running record test was the moment that sparked my love for reading, which spanned through the rest of my childhood. Though I'm not huge into reading anymore, and quite honestly barely open up a book, the lesson that this taught me is one that I will forever be grateful for. This was my first academic success, which pushed the idea into my head that the harder you work, the more success you are bound to have. While this may seem like such a small sliver in my life, it truly is the moment that taught me to dream big, work hard, and achieve anything you put your mind to.